for joining us this afternoon. I like the full house. I love the lights. Can I have an applause from the crowd, please? Until I put my finger down. Thank you. Now, you know when you're after lunch and everyone is full and looking forward to the dinner, and you have 45 minutes to do something technical, it becomes difficult, right? But don't worry, we have a very, very good panel this afternoon. You won't even realize the 45 minutes. Because we are going, okay. Thank you. We are going to break down technology in terms of energy, medicine, and climate action. What's happening in the world around us today, like what is going on currently in Egypt, is COP27. And COP27 is basically initiatives around climate change. And for this session, our sponsors are Power and Energy Society and the EMBA Society. So these two societies and climate action, what is the relationship? And from the bios of our panelists this afternoon, you understand the diversity in the profession, and that is what we are bringing into the room this afternoon. That good blend of diversity. On that note, I'd like to ask my first question to my panelist, Engineer Limo. When we look at energy, and we look at medicine, and the nexus of climate action, you realize that all these three aspects have a component of the grid. And when we talk about the grid, we talk about electricity. So in this rich nexus of these three pillars, in the present day world, we have aspects of smart grid. As a member of staff at Kenya Power, is our grid sustainable for us to have renewables, for us to advance technology, for us to meet climate change? Can that grid sustain, and can we say it's really a smart grid?
Thank you very much, Sally. Yes, yes, I think it was introduced earlier as in Limo. I work with the KPLC, and in KPLC we have or that sector, because as you frame the question, it's all exactly about the energy sector. We have in the agencies for energy sector, we have in the power lighting, we have Kenyan that deals with generation. We have REA that deals with road electrification, and then we have a number of IPPs. All the generating companies, that is Kenyan and the IPPs, generating power to our transmission network. The transmission network is actually managed by Kenya Power Lighting and another government entity called KETRACO. KETRACO, when power is generated from the generation plants like hydros, wind, and geothermal, diesel, and solar, they are all transformed to very high voltage and transmitted to the load centers. And as you mentioned about the renewable energy, we have quite a number of, currently, we have a number of geothermal plants in Bulgaria that are generating almost 800 megawatts. We have a 300 megawatt plant for wind on Galami, that is in Turkana. We also have a solar plant in Garissa, about 52 megawatts. We have another 2 solar plants in Eldoret, that is Geria and SS. Both of them are generating about 120 megawatts. So in the pipeline for this sector, we are actually commissioning a DC line from Ethiopia, that is on 500 kV DC and transformed to 220 and 400 kV at Suswo, which is about 100 kilometers away from Nairobi. Yeah, so in that, in the generation aspect, we already have quite a number of renewable energy in large scale that are actually integrated to our grid. Of course, the major challenge that we have with that is the variations of the renewable energy, and it is the one that causes interruptions in Kenya a few times when you lose power for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. And then at times on under frequency, we have a load management system that ensures that when there are very rapid changes in the network, you actually you just switch off some of the loads and then restore after switching on the other plants that are able to take up the shortage. So that is it for generation and the transmission network. In KPLC, our preparedness in the smart grid is actually we've done quite a lot, especially when it comes to metering. We now have smart metering that is we are able to read the power that is delivered to customers. We are also able to disconnect when the customer doesn't pay. We've installed prepaid meters that are actually that we can disconnect when there is when you actually don't pay. We also have a very intelligent distribution systems, like we have almost smart systems in our substations. We have we have actually adopted what I can call an international standard for IEEE substations. I don't know if some of you have visited substations. The lines, distribution lines emanate from the substations. Those distribution lines are controlled and managed centrally in what we call a control center in KPLC. Those substations or those feed outs that come from the substation, they have very intelligent protection equipment that are able to gather information. They are able to trip when there is a fault on the line and even give you the parameters that cause the fault. In certain cases, they can even tell you the location of the fault. We've also implemented, I hope I'm not taking too long. Okay, we've also implemented what is called a distribution scanner system that is able to isolate any faulty areas or distribution lines and return areas or the parts of the line that are healthy. So those ones are already implemented in KPLC. Yeah, we have also small generating plants in the distribution network. We have not geothermal, but hydros, and in so many areas. The regulation has also given us, or it's put in our Energy Act. It allows customers to do what is called cogeneration, where you generate to the grid at the same time buy when you need power from the grid. Of course, the regulations are still under preparation, and once they are ready, I think most of the customers will be able to generate power to KPLC in what is called not Philippe, I can't remember the name now, but it is you sell, the power you generate let's say in the morning when you have solar, and in the afternoon when you start buying from KPLC, it is kind of netted off at a certain cost that is below, okay, it's supposed to be below because of the cost of transmission. So you actually make some money in terms of getting free units in that kind of arrangement. So we are not there yet, but we are likely to be there. We are going to be there soon as we implement the right regulations, the right laws, and also the right technical solutions.
Thank you. Thank you, engineer. And to my audience, I want us to try something this afternoon. After each of my panelists responds, you and I will remain seated. You stand, clap as you sit down. So we are going to give a standing ovation to each of the panelists. So now, after Engineer Limo has finished, let's give it a try. Let's all arise. You remain seated. Everyone, please. Let's make it fast. We have 5 minutes, a minute of clapping. And as you clap, remember to smile. Let's go. As you sit down. Thank you. Thank you very much, engineer and the audience. And kindly take notes of questions. We'll pick 2 questions after this session. And from what Engineer Lim was talking about, smart grids and new and improved technology trends, we have IoT and human-centered designs. And Geraldine is from the manufacturing industry, from Schneider Electric. So Geraldine, looking at the manufacturing sector in Kenya and the new trends of IoT and human-centered designs, how can manufacturers locally in Kenya poise themselves to attract investors into the manufacturing industries along these trends?
Thank you, Sally. Good afternoon, everyone, again. As Sally said, I'm Geraldine Sunday, and I'm glad to be here today. So, talking as a manufacturer in this industry, it's very interesting that this space is very vast, and I'm going to narrow down to us as Schneider Electric. So within Schneider Electric, our purpose is to empower all to make the most of our energy and resources, bringing progress, sustainability for all. And this we call it Life is On. So a little history about who we are. Schneider Electric was acquired a local entity called Power Techniques back in 2015. Power Techniques is a Kenyan-owned company, or was rather a Kenyan-owned company that was started in 1982. So this actually tells you that there's a lot of history, a lot of generational knowledge that was acquired by Schneider Electric when it came into East Africa. As a manufacturer, we have a base, a well set up industry that is on Mombasa Road. We have a team of about 280 employees, and this office actually is able to serve the greater East Africa. So when we talk about East Africa, we're talking about from Djibouti, Eritrea, what we know as East, which is Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Burundi. And really, it has been a very exciting journey for us as a manufacturer, because you must imagine that as a multinational company, we had the great challenge of localizing our operations on the ground. So, taking again a step back into energy, a study was done back in 2020, whereby it said, if you look at the whole of sub-Saharan Africa, we have an electrification rate of about 49%. And really, in this day and age, we are tracking very behind. If I bring it closer to home, into East Africa, Kenya right now, we are having 71% of electrification. And this is really, really high. In fact, we are performing excellently well. If you compare us to our neighbors, Burundi, who are still lagging behind, we're having about electrification of about 11%. So, as a manufacturer, when we sit down, we are looking at what are we able to do different to make sure that the industry is ready for us now and is well prepared for the future that is coming ahead. Within Schneider Electric, we created a department called Access to Energy. And Access to Energy is the business that I personally lead. I have teams span across East Africa, South Africa, and West Africa. These teams have a very main task. We have a task of making sure that by 2030, 800 million people have access to energy. And when I talk about energy, we are looking at clean cooking, we are talking about clean lighting, something that between me and you, we believe is automatic. But there are those that do not have it. and hence we are looking at it as a basic human need. Within the access to energy, we have three main pillars that we operate through. We have the social and inclusive side of our business. With the social and inclusive side of our business, we have products that range from lanterns, so we are talking about the handheld lanterns, all the way to bigger systems. We are talking about 1 megawatt systems and above. And from the lanterns, we are having individual handheld products. Then we are looking at residential, which is what we are calling the home solutions. Then we are having the community kind of lighting, which is what we are calling the Vilaya. And in this, we are having an array of panels and batteries together with aim of providing access to energy. So the social inclusive business mainly runs through partners. And as a manufacturer, we work tirelessly to identify local companies, local system integrators that are able to take our solutions and together with their teams who are actually trained by our Kenyan education system, they are able to actually integrate our solutions very confidently. The second arm that we have is our training and entrepreneurship arm. For us to be able to successfully have, of course, a pool of engineers and companies that can use our solutions successfully, we need to also be able to invest in the young. So I just remember having a conversation with my table mates over lunch, and it was very interesting because we are looking at access to energy, and we are thinking, what would Schneider Electric be able to offer a university like Kenyatta University, or Jomo Kenyatta University, or Moi University where I'm an alumni, or the TVET institutions that we have. So Schneider Electric, through the foundation, is able to donate equipment. So when you're looking at your labs, so like myself, I'm an electrical engineer. We had the theory and then we had the practical, right? The theory is okay because you'll be taught formulas. There's the practical side, which you go to the lab and you're able to interact with the equipment. So Schneider Electric actually donates this equipment to the various institutions. And we are actually donating new, relevant, innovative equipment that enables all the students who go through this institution to be industry ready. And that speaks very well, Sally, to what you asked about the manpower and how we are bringing the human aspect of it. The final arm that we have within the access to energy business is where we have the investment arm. So Schneider Electric has invested in 25 local companies within sub-Saharan Africa. We handpick and select organizations that are able to make us reach faster to our global commitment of being net zero, that are able to give us carbon credits to be able to either sell or to announce it by ourselves. And this is something that is very, very critical to us as a nation, to the globe, and that is why you're seeing our leaders right now in Egypt talking about COP27 and seeing how we are able to preserve our earth. On the final basis again, if you look at it all of these three arms, so the social inclusive business, you look at training and entrepreneurship, we're looking at investment. It all cannot happen if we do not have a market. So over and above this, we thrive very well in events like this, and we're really grateful for IEEE to extend this invitation to us, to allow us to talk to very wonderful people seated today, and to tell you that we are glad to be here and to be part of this conversation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Let's do one thing. Let's do one thing. No. Not everyone is up here. So waiting for you, Laganda.
Oh my God.
Okay. Standing ovation, please. As you sit down. I don't like the dark faces. Please remember to smile, right? Thank you. And if you have not picked key pointers from our two panelists so far, you're in the wrong room. We have business for the entrepreneurs. We have jobs for those who are manufacturing. We have attachments and internship opportunities for the students. We have labs for the lecturers, professors, and the doctors in the room. If you've not picked that, welcome to our session. And massive. In IEEE Smart Village, we mostly focus on the underprivileged communities. And this afternoon, we are looking at energy and the aspect of global health. But we cannot downplay some of the aspects that hinder the progression in energy and in medicine. Issues of culture, issues of social injustice, especially in underserved communities. How can we as young people look at these aspects and also be intentional in our activities, just like Smart Village is? And how are we able to really overcome some of these barriers?
Thank you, Sadi. Okay, so thank you, Sadi. And as said, I'm Masi Chelamat from IEEE Smart Village. So just a background on Smart Village. So IEEE Smart Village empowers off-grid communities with electricity, education, and enterprise development. So we use these three pillars to go into different underserved communities, understand their needs, and then find custom solutions to ensure that we meet the exact needs of the community. So as we are talking about energy today, we see energy as an enabler to community development. And so, as has been mentioned by the earlier panelists on the electrification rate, we see that in Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa, we have the most dire challenges of energy poverty. And so, how do we work together to ensure that we solve some of these challenges? And culture comes in as such a big issue because we've seen some areas that have actually refused to take the power because they see it as a new technology that's threatening. So the way to deal with this is to educate the community on the technology that you're bringing to them. Let them know of the benefits that they can gain through this electricity that you're providing, and actually help them to set up an additional micro-enterprise or enterprise depending on the interest of the particular entrepreneur or developer. So when it comes to the health sector, this is very specific, especially because we cannot do the electrification by ourselves. As we see, stakeholders and partners are very important. And when I mean stakeholders, I mean the Council of Elders in the different cultural communities you visit. I mean the faith-based institutions that exist in these different communities. Like in Turkana, we are partnering with the Full Gospel Churches of Kenya. And this is because we need to help the people grow their faith in another way so they can improve their livelihoods and stop relying on relief aid. So when it comes to the health aspect, and this was really evident during COVID, we partnered as IEEE Smart Village with Rotary to provide solar-powered telehealth solutions for different health institutions in Uganda and Kenya. And so what we learned was that most of the people who are adversely affected are women. And therefore, we need to recognize this dynamic that exists in every community, see how you can solve it using the different technology that you have at your disposal to ensure that you meet the need of the community and not just the need that you envisioned as you went into that community. So we also see that besides the telehealth, there is the aspect of generally empowering the health center, which helps to at least perform operations in the hospitals, 24/7 without interruption. People who need life support also rely on these electric power devices. And the other component is on, so there's telehealth, and then there's also refrigeration. So we've seen a lot of innovations around cold storage, especially because in the rural communities, knowing how far they are from access to amenities, it's only wise to ensure that they also have refrigeration or cold storage that they can use to store the vaccines or the medicines that need this kind of facilities. So that's it for me, but I think the key takeaway is how to use energy as an enabler, especially in the health sector.
So David, what role does off-grid play in terms of mitigating climate action?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Um, as introduced, I'm David Jugi. I work with Gogla. And Gogla, to introduce the organization, is the Global Industry Association for Off-Grid Solar and Appliances sector. So we basically convene and coordinate off-grid work across the globe. And when you talk about off-grid, when you're in the energy space, you think that everybody understands what off-grid is. We're talking about solutions or off-grid products. These are solutions that are offered, whether it's lighting solutions or appliances, to households, communities that the grid cannot reach, or even where the grid reaches, maybe the community or the households cannot afford, or where there is a weak grid as well. So off-grid serves a huge population. Currently, we have around 493 million people who benefit from off-grid appliances, mainly for lighting. And these we are talking about tier 1 solutions. And we have another more than 100 million that live below the grid that also benefit from these solutions. So the off-grid sector has a huge role to play towards energy access. We all know that there is a target to have universal energy access by 2030, which I don't think we'll attain, but off-grid plays a key role. In the Kenyan space, think of off-grid in terms of energy access. I think we account for around 20% or 25%. The grid covers the rest, meaning that without it, we would have, access rate would be more 50 something, but because of off-grid, we are at 71, 75% energy access. In terms of climate and how off-grid solutions mitigate or help provide a solution to the climate menace that we have. Maybe just to flash out some numbers. To date, the sector has helped avoid around 190 million metric tons of CO2 emissions, saved around $26 billion of fuel that would otherwise have been used, because of the fuel switch you're using solar as opposed to other dirty fuels, or whether they're fossil fuels or biomass, But beyond that, as mentioned, off-grid solutions also offer solutions to health, education, the agriculture in terms of increasing productivity, what Jonathan was talking about, or what you call productive use of energy. It's the standalone systems of coming to really provide solutions for farmers, whether for slaughter pumping, refrigeration, cold storage, lengthening the life of some of the produce and all that. For the health sector, as explained, vaccine box and other solutions, and in education as well, either powering appliances in schools or lighting schools, but also providing lighting solution for kids to study at home where they have no electricity.
Thank you, and let's do our final thing. Please. Thank you very much. And just to wind up this exciting panel, I'm going to do an elevator pitch for our panelists and ask them one question that I'll call a call to action. We have students and young professionals in this room. And when you look at energy, medicine, climate action, the first thing they ask is, so what do we do? How can I help? What is the way forward? What is that one area of innovation that you would leave the students and the young professionals with in the area of energy and climate action for them to come up with the solutions to address our immediate situation of climate change?
Thank you very much, Sally. In our sector, we got a lot that you can do your research, and I can mention a few. And one of them is metering solutions. And one of the challenges that the Kenya Power Lighting has is electricity theft. And you know, when electricity is stolen by bad customers, it affects the performance of the company, and then it also raises the cost of electricity, and then making people go back to the lamps, because now they're not able to pay electricity, so you disconnect them, they start using kerosene again. Or in certain circumstances, they have, some will be forced to close their businesses. So metering solution is one of them, and that metering solution should actually be a device that you should actually be able to protect the flow of electricity, and also be able to be, it's not smart, again, it should be able to be intelligent to store and transmit information. So, of course, we have to look for a solution that is actually local. We have so many solutions from abroad, but I believe in Africa we can get better solutions for protecting our electricity. Yes, we also have grid interconnections that are becoming very critical, especially as we connect to small generators or core generators. So there are inverters, converters that still have challenges of interconnection, and there is quite a lot of research going on there. So it's an area that you can also attend to. The other one is microgrid solutions that are affordable, especially in the rural areas that are far from the grid, and also for very important installations like health centers and maybe administration centers in the remote areas. I know Schneider has got some solutions, and also I've had some here that can be good, but you can really investigate to get on-ground solutions that can help people in the rural areas. Remember that one of the challenges that we have in this electricity business is sustainability. You can actually come up with a good solution, but you need somebody to come from Germany to correct that problem. So we actually need to get home-ground solutions that we can actually be able to maintain ourselves.
Thank you, engineer. I'm going to just one, Mercy and David.
Okay, thank you, Sally. I'm just trying to think on top of my head. I believe that we all know the best ideas come from the youth. So definitely I do not see why innovation shouldn't come from. If I look at all the beautiful faces in this room, we would have thousands of ideas coming out by the end of whatever period we set. what is very important is that we need to make sure that our innovation are following the global trends. Mercy asked for one, I'll give two. So the top trend right now that we have is digitization. And we know we are really leading in this. So a call to the young people, whatever you're innovating, please make sure that it is going in line with this digitization trend. We always want the most sharpest, newest, sleekest thing coming out, and definitely our innovation should also reflect this. The second item, like engineer has said, is sustainability. Everyone is talking about sustainability. Everyone is looking at saving where we are calling home, which is this earth that we live on. So I believe whatever innovation you're bringing up, please let it have a point of sustainability. Thank you.
So for me, what I see having lots of potential is the electrified transportation space. And we see that as we look at the current situation whereby we are not able to provide mobile electricity, electric vehicles can come in as mobile power plants. They can come in with balancing the grid in case of, especially you see that in Kenya, I think we only use half of what we produce, something around that. So there's need for that demand to actually stimulate and return the investment that has been put in by the power producers. So electrified transportation, and just to pick on an advancement from what has been shared on monitoring the data aspect. So a lot of smart devices nowadays existing relaying a lot of information and data. So you can find users that can help to just better the solution in there.
Thank you. Before David comes in, the camera gentleman, get ready, you're coming in next.
For me, there's a number I didn't share. We have around 700 million people who have no access to electricity, to clean, affordable, reliable electricity, mostly in Africa and a bit in Asia. 700 million. That's, we have 30% of Kenyans who have no access to electricity. That's an opportunity. The emerging trends and technologies that still have a lot, they still need for a lot of innovation. Talking about electric mobility, energy storage, electric cooking. I don't know whether you're aware that it's actually cheaper to cook with electricity than even gas. The Kenyatta should have mentioned this. It's actually cheaper, and a way of also stimulating demand. But then the appliances are more expensive. How can we integrate technology to make them, to improve access? So those are challenges that the sector is facing that can be addressed by young, enterprising people in tech. We have electronic wastes, a big issue now. There are solar systems that are coming to end of life. How do we manage that? How do we reuse? How do we recycle? These days we're talking about circular economy, making sure that things don't go to waste. And how do we manage all this to be productive? That's another challenge out there that needs to be solved.
Thank you. Thank you very much to the panelists and to our audience. I hope you have the questions to keep the conversation going beyond this. I'll invite my panelists to a quick photo as I welcome Dogomba to take over.
Round of applause. Going on next is an online session. This is a session on engineering challenges of the future. I think we're building on a theme. I don't know if you guys are seeing that. We're building on a theme of innovation and innovation capacity building and basically solving challenges around what we face. right? And this has been a constant theme throughout this, at least this afternoon, I mean, these days sessions. So I want to go into the next session swiftly, and that is going to be delivered by our very own Professor Athena Petropoulou. She is a distinguished professor from the State University of New Jersey, and also she is the president of IEEE Signal Processing Society. She is also a distinguished professor at Rutgers University. So I'll just read a very brief overview of her bio. She's a woman of many awards and firsts and hats. Professor, yeah. So I'm going to just basically read through some of her highlights based on her profile, and then invite her to go on to the next. I hope, Prof, you can hear us from wherever you are. You can just wave. Unless there's a lag, I'm not so sure that she can adequately hear us. So, nonetheless, I'll continue as the IEEE Signal Processing Society, which she's running from 2022 to 2023. And then she's also a recipient of IEEE Signal Processing Young Author Best Paper Award, I think, which she collaborated with Liu in 2021. She's also a Barry Carlton Best Paper Award awardee, IEEE Aerospace and Electronic System Society, by IEEE Aerospace and Electronic System Society in 2021. She's also an IEEE Signal Processing Young Author Best Paper Award, I think collaborating with Lee in 2020. She is a distinguished lecturer of the IEEE Aerospace and Electronic Systems Society from 2019 to 2020. She is a member at large for IEEE Signal. She was a member at large at IEEE Signal Processing Board of Governors from 2018 to 2019. Prior to which, she was also a distinguished lecturer of the IEEE Signal Processing Society from 2017 to 2018. And the list goes on. You can check the whole profile on the website. Basically, she has awards after awards after awards, which for me is inspiring because these just show you that there's a lot to achieve out there in terms of what is available. And so without further ado, I want to invite you, Prof, for your session on engineering challenges of the future. Welcome to address the audience.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, fantastic.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for the nice introduction. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and address the students and young professionals of Kenya. So today I will talk about engineering challenges of the future, and in particular how signal processing can help with those engineering challenges. So about 15 years ago, the National Academy of Engineering in the US came up with 14 challenges for the future. And those challenges fall across 4 cross-cutting themes: sustainability, health, security, and the joy of living. Some of these challenges
Fantastic. So on to the next session. We'll be having special session. I'm interrupting the program just slightly because we have a very special message that all of us need to hear even as we proceed with the afternoon program. And we're well within time-ish, so we're trying to fix everything into phase. Now, next we're going to have a speech from Elizabeth Mwende, who is the IEEE Women in Engineering representative. So Elizabeth is an agricultural engineer with over 5 years experience. She is very keen on empowering students and YPs, that is young professionals, in engineering and technology space. She currently serves as a committee member of the Women Engineers Committee of the IEEE, that is the Institute of Engineers Kenya. And she is also very active in the climate action space through global organizations such as Yango and Unify. She will probably give you a primer of what those are. And then also serves as a global youth representative in the Stakeholder Engagement and Networking Advisory Board of the UN Food Systems Coordination Hub. this is very important for us given the fact that we are facing a drought catastrophe in Kenya and a recession across the world. Thank you so much for making the time, Elizabeth. Please join us on stage as the crowd invites you with a clap. To the point that she gets to the podium better.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Tuko aje?
Oh.
Mko sure mko poa?
Yes.
Alright. Yeah, so I'm Elizabeth. I'm here on behalf of the IEEE, that's the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, in specific, the Women Engineers Charter Committee. So just as a short brief of what IEEE and the WEC committee are, the IEEE is the learned society of the engineering profession and cooperates with national and other international institutions in developing and applying engineering to the benefit of humanity. The IEEE empowers young professionals and students by way of seminars, lectures, publications, and trainings aimed at enabling them to keep up to date with technical and industrial developments, management aspects of engineering, changes in technology, and relevant developments in Kenya and elsewhere. Within the IEEE, there exists the Women Engineers Chapter, which is a network of women in engineering across the country, whose aim is to empower women in engineering by developing their potential in engineering and leadership. This is aimed to achieve high levels of professionalism as well as inclusivity for female engineers. So we empower other female engineers and specifically the YPs through capacity building webinars, workshops, industrial visits, high school and campus outreach events, as well as the annual summit which takes place during the annual engineers convention. Has any of us had the pleasure of meeting with the WEC members in our campus events? Is there anyone from JKUAT here? My goodness.
Past or current?
Ah, okay. No, current, not past. Yeah, because we've held some events in conjunction with some of these universities. Yeah. So moreover, the IEEE greatly values YPs and students, which is why the Future Leaders Committee was formed. Perhaps now it's more familiar to us. Maybe we've also encountered this chapter. So the Future Leaders Committee plays a vital role in reaching out to students and YPs in engineering and technology. In addition, for the first time ever this year, we will also have the Future Leaders Summit for young professionals during this year's convention, which is taking place from the 21st to 25th of November at Diani Reef at the coast. So during this summit, we will have various capacity building sessions for the YPs, which are aimed at enhancing skills such as entrepreneurship skills, communication skills, negotiation skills, and personal branding skills as well, which are very important to us as the YPs, so that we can achieve and develop to live up to our full potential. In conclusion, my dear fellow YPs and students, it is noted that the youths make up over 60% of our population in Kenya and also generally in Africa. And we are the most affected by climate change. This underscores our need to stand up to be counted and actively take part in climate action. As engineers and technologists, we can use our scientific knowledge to come up with innovations aimed at helping communities to build resilience to climate change and also mitigate against the same. Other ways we can take part in climate action include climate technology transfer or deployment, This is whereby, if you are aware of any existing technologies, or we've also come up with our own, we now cascade it down to the local communities who actually need these technologies. Other ways we can take part in climate action are community outreach, research, taking part in policy making decision processes, art, and social media campaigns. Kwanza hapa najua tunaweza fit in sana. Social media, I believe we are all, at least most of us, we are very active, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, or elsewhere. Get the word out there and create awareness about climate change and what the young people can do. I also urge us to take part in the innovative challenges, whether locally or at the global level. Every now and then we see different organizations giving a call out to students or just young people under the age of 35 to come up with solutions to various problems in the society across different sectors. I would highly encourage us to take part. Personally, I always do. And there is such a great benefit to taking part. Even if you do not win, it exposes you to other greater opportunities. So finally, it would also be beneficial for us all to network and work together with other youths in formalized organizations, whether locally or internationally. For example, the Yango of the UNFCCC and the major group of children and youth at UNEP. How many of us have heard of Yango? Well, we are few. And the major group of children and youth? Okay. So membership is free, and it's such a great platform for us as students and YPs to actually get to network with other young people in other countries and get to take part in climate action together. There are different working groups depending on where you feel your skills and capacity is best suited. So I did hear during the previous panel that a question was posed, what can we do in climate action? And I want to believe that from my very short speech, I've given you a brief of what you can do. And I'm hoping that from now on, I'll meet with many of you either at Yango or any other YP setup. And I also encourage us to become members of IEEE as students. Thank you so much.
How many remember what Sally did to us? But Sally, remember what she did? So everyone, rise. Just rise below speech. So I want someone to confirm to me what makes up IEEE. We may have a gift for you. What is the composition of IEEE? We say IEEE is a composition of which kind of people and which kind of people. Someone? I think Steven is the name. Yes, yes.
Just give us the one.
I cannot hear you, but you can come closer. I can see everyone asking, what is IEEE? Who is our chair?
My name is Kevin Kipena from Moi University, and IEEE is made up of students, professionals, and volunteers.
Thank you. I think you're saying it. So everyone is a volunteer, but it is the students and young professionals which means that we don't just aspire to empower only the students, but even as you progress into the field, the work environment, as a young professional, we still want to upskill you with relevant techie, the trends that are happening. And that is what IEEE is all about. Somehow, it's also to keep your mind fresh so that you don't lose on the key tips. I know in the morning we've just talked about opportunities that are to be given to students, but right now we want to see what professionals can get. So I want to usher in a panel. I'll be mentioning the names. You'll be clapping, and after I've finished mentioning the names, that's when you'll sit down. Okay. So the first person, Michael Kamau from ICT Academy in Hawaii, Kenya. We have Marvin Gessa, Device Manager at Safaricom. Beth Basia, EBK. Okay, and we have our moderator, Abin Lumumba, Chaltu. So this panel is going to take us through empowering young professionals as the aging tech revolution. So let's find out about what they're going to tell us. You may now be seated. Thank you very much.
All right. So, John, if you're in the audience or if you join us later, just join us on the panel. No pressure. We won't judge you. That being said, we want to talk about how we can empower young professionals as the engine of the next tech revolution. Thanks, Martha, for joining us as well. And I want to structure this in a very simple way, right? The what, the why, the how, and then the challenges, so we can all be on the same page. All these are representative of different organizations, and you want to see what are they doing in their different organizations and how then can we work together, both as beneficiaries of their programs and also them impacting us and basically building the right systems for empowering young professionals. So maybe I'll begin with my colleague, Michael, on the extreme end. What does empowering young people mean to you or to Huawei as an organization?
Thank you, Lumumba. Good afternoon. As was introduced, my name is Michael Kamau. I work at Huawei Kenya for about 4 years now. The enterprise department, specifically I'm working on ICT Academy in Kenya. So for Huawei, most of you may or may not know Huawei. They are a leading provider of ICT infrastructure, smart devices. And we've been working in Kenya for over 20 years now. We have we're providing a lot of the infrastructure that we are using currently. We are all enjoying a 4G network, a 3G network. A few weeks back, we had the first commercial launch of 5G, so we are very happy to work with Safaricom and other stakeholders to advance technology here in Kenya. We also have a lot of business with government and such, and other private sector organizations in the country. So as Huawei, as a global company, number one, we believe we are at the right place to be able to empower the people. We talk about the 3 P's of business success: people, process, and product. So we believe people are very, very important. And even internally, we have our own structures and measures of how we can support us or people, our working force. We have almost 200,000 employees globally. In Kenya, we have about 500. So we really focus on people. But externally, I'm happy to see so many students here. So we have a lot of student programs. And I think IEEE has done a very fantastic job of engaging students here. So I think for us, as per the question of how we can empower, what it means for us at Huawei, it provides helping young people or young professionals or students understanding what exactly is required for the fourth industrial revolution. We have various programs that actually talk about what we need for us to realize the fourth industrial revolution. We're in Africa, we're in Kenya. So luckily, our government and some of our businesses are moving towards cloud. So I think cloud is very, very important. Also, artificial intelligence. It's a very popular word that is used. I think slowly, startups are very much taking up AI, but I think slowly governments and probably state departments are not very keen on this. But I believe this is also another area that needs to be paid close attention in. As we have all this infrastructure, I believe for Kenya we are at a very good place because we have, I think, broadband is at 90%. We have fiber, over 9,000 kilometers of fiber. Actually, it's a big investment by government. So I think infrastructure, we are very good. But the people, I think, still needs a lot of work. We need to provide the right skills, and ensure that we understand the right qualifications. And then we need to establish the right work ethic and attitude towards helping or building ourselves to be the engine for the industrial revolution. So I think there are so many trends, especially in the West. We see Western companies, they have can come in at 12 midday, leave at 4 p.m., work from home, so many things that are happening. But I think for us here, as young professionals or as students who are going to the industry, maybe we are not there yet. We still need to do our 8 to 5, we still need to work overtime to make sure that we can reach where the West or the East is at, and then maybe we can adopt such activities in the future. So I think we have a lot to do. I think my mic. Sorry about that, but I hope I was audible, but I think we can do a lot as Huawei. I think in the next I will be able to talk about some of the programs that we have, and I'm happy to see a very familiar faces for students who have been in programs that we have run in Kenya, and I look forward to talking about the why and how in the future. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael, for that. A round of applause, maybe. I'm not sinister like Sally and Lavender with 20 days startup, but be outstanding at least mentally. Now, next is our regulator, the Engineers Board of Kenya. But the same question: what does empowering young engineers mean to you and EVK?
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is Beth Macha. I represent the Engineers Board of Kenya. I work under the Directorate of Corporate Services Department. So as a regulatory body, what we've been doing and trying to do, we have been trying to do a lot of capacity building, exposure and training for young engineers. That's where we are at the moment. We have an ongoing program called the Graduate Engineers Internship Program. I believe we have, I think, 2 representatives here from one of the cohorts. If you're here, please stand up. Is anyone here from the Engineers Board of Energy program? Okay, I know they were here earlier, but they can be a good testimony and witness for you guys to interact later on. Basically, the Graduate Engineers Internship Program is a strategy from the board to allow engineers, once you're registered with us as a board, you are given an opportunity to go for internship. We do a lot of collaborations and partnerships with other agencies, both from private and public stakeholders. So we've had experiences in the past of going to Isuzu, forwarding our students to Isuzu, Kenha, KPLC, and all other partners, whereby they are able to do the internships for a period of from 2 to 3 years. Because when you look at the structure for the Engineers Board, where we do the registration, we have a 3-tier structure, where the first level is the graduate engineer, the second level is the professional engineer, and the third level is the consulting engineer. So once you're registered with us by the board under the level of the graduate engineer, you have the opportunity to upscale yourself to the professional engineer level, and then that takes about 3 years of maturity from the date you're registered with us as a graduate engineer for you to become a professional engineer. So that's just one of the many programs we're doing. There's a lot to talk about. We can engage later.
Right. Round of applause for the regulator. That's everyone's boss in this room. Marvin, same question. What does empowering young people mean to you and to Safaricom as an organization?
Alright, so thank you for that. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ngesa Marvin. I'm a device manager at Safaricom, and my key role involves coming up with strategy for devices for IT and and ensuring that all these devices work well within the country, and also working on 5G use cases. And outside Safaricom, I also work with communities like Google Developer Group. Probably you guys saw on Saturday and Sunday, Developers Nairobi training, and also communities for companies like ARM. And what we try to do in this community is that give people a space and platform where they can come together and learn. People from different backgrounds, young people like you, and just walk in and say, for my side, I want to learn artificial intelligence. I want to get started building mobile applications. I want to know how to get started building embedded systems, devices. And they come to a place, we do the code labs, we do the maker labs, to a point where after some sessions, these people will go and do training to other people. So you can come, learn, and then train people after that. And also we provide a platform where people can network with each other. You can know, this is the guy who's good in this, and this is the guy who's good in this. So today, Safaricom, together with ARM and other ecosystem partners, we've seen how communities have helped the software side or the software industry to grow. And we feel that there's something that we can also do on the hardware side for electrical engineers like you, for those who are passionate about hardware, to also get started building hardware and move from doing prototypes to having devices that can go into the market. In fact, today, Safaricom, together with ARM and partners, we are training people on how to get started building hardware. And once we train you, we don't just give you on the theory side. We also give you hardware, we give you devices, so that you can do the practical part of it. And not just that alone, we also give you visibility, where you're able to post what you're doing, you're able to get internship and things like that. So on top of that, we're also building labs in different universities across the country, where you can just walk in and get every single thing you need to get started building hardware. Yeah.
All right, another one for Marvin. I think it's becoming very clear, right? I think it's becoming very clear what organizations are doing. And I mean, you're the judges, you're the ones in the audience, the ones who benefit from these programs. I hope you're experiencing them. If not, then I hope it's a learning point for all of you to know what Huawei is doing, what EBK is doing, what Safaricom is doing, things you didn't know perhaps, but now you can take full advantage of, right? So again, I also want to ask you to keep this conversation going on online. The hashtags are constant, we haven't changed them. And also please follow Panari Africa on all social media accounts, because they have 10 vouchers they want to give to you guys. Apparently so far it's only one person who's followed them. Next question.
Mic check 2. So the microphones are So thank you very much, our speakers. Thank you, Arvind. For the next question, we have, why is it necessary or important for your organization to empower YPs as the engine of tech revolution? So we'll start again from the very far with Michael Kamal from Huawei.
So on the question of why it's very important. So I was reading this morning that I think 65% of Africans are youth or young people. And we know that, I always believe that when I'm speaking to an audience like this, right now I'm speaking probably to the next 2 or 5 or so years, you will be the HODs or directors or ICT managers in your respective organizations. So we can impact or change your thinking about how or why we need digital skills, or why we need competency in digital skills learning or training. Then you can go on and influence even your organization and have a bigger impact. So we believe that it is very, very important that we have young professionals or students who have the latest ICT skills that are necessary for advancement of the nation or advancement or growing of the digital economy. So ICT skills is very important. Through our programs, for example, Huawei ICT Academy, we have almost 4,000 students going through the program every year. We have trained and certified over 120
lecturers who are supporting the program run since 2018. So I think it's very, very important for global companies, not only Huawei, but other institutions as well, IEEE, even from Cisco or HP, IBM or Saxifico. We can all contribute, be more responsible in contributing towards the development of the future leaders. Because as I said, yourselves here seated down, you'll be the next leaders in the specific organization that we have. So we believe we can make the impact now and influence your way of thinking, influence how you see technology and the value of technology. And by supporting you, you can in turn support even a bigger audience or even the organization in some policy or some frameworks. So I think it's very important, and this is actually the reason why, for example, as Huawei, we are focusing on such. And we do it at an intermediate level and an advanced level. So at the basic level, we have one of our projects that is the DigiTrack. So we have, in Kenya, we have remote areas where we are not able to access probably digital skills learning. So we have what we call a classroom of wheels, that we're able to go to remote areas. For example, we were in Turkana, some remote areas of the country. We have a digital classroom that now even the community that is over there can get to access. As Huawei, we have what we call a model that is leaving no one behind, or ensuring that everyone has access to technology and the right skills that is needed for the fourth industrial revolution. So we believe that inclusivity is very important, and ensuring that everyone has access, because access is very key, and then they can improve their lives, they can improve their livelihood, those around them, and even the communities and organizations that they will go to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we hand the mic back, I want to ask an off-grid question a little bit. So I know a lot of us we are hearing, I heard about ICT Academy today. I visited that website, and for someone who's sitting here and thinking, how do I start? What do I need to get into this program?
Yes, thank you. So ICT Academy is an industry academy collaboration that Huawei has with universities and colleges in Kenya, but not only in Kenya, in countries, right now we're in about 170 countries as well, countries and regions. So we have ICT Academy in Kenya, in Sub-Saharan Africa, we have 16 countries, Nigeria, South Africa, everywhere. So you are a university student, we have partnerships with 50 education institutes. So universities, colleges, and even the 10 national polytechnics. So your institution, I believe, we have TUK, I think, JQuat. Your institution is an authorized Huawei ICT Academy. So you can walk in and find the academic coordinator or the certified Huawei instructor, and they can be able to show you how you can attend training, or we have other programs that are supplementing ICT Academy. One of them is ICT competition. I saw one of the students, maybe Ashton, maybe you can lift up your hand. Maybe stand up. Ashton is from KU, I believe, yes. So he participated in the ICT competition up to the global stage, right? And actually won first prize in the innovation competition. Right? This is another program that we are running with Communications Authority. So we have very many student programs. We also have Seeds for the Future. I think we involved in it, right? As well. So we have very many student programs, and we want to provide, there are free programs that you can register and participate in. And I hope that you can reach your university directly, or even reach me because I'm here, and we can be able to share, see how it is coming. Right now we are running ICT competition, we are still in the registration phase, and the national final will be on 10th December, so we still have some time. So I hope all of you can register.
Please do, and visit that website right away. So thank you very much. A round of applause for him. The same question for our regulators, the ones who really show or really evaluate, are you an engineer? Are you a certified engineering body? Are you? So why is it necessary for you to, and why is it important for you to empower YPs as the engine of tech revolution in Kenya, as the regulator?
I'm going to speak generally on why, and why it's necessary to be associated with the Engineers Board of Kenya. First of all, I'm going to highlight maybe reasons due to compliance issues. The board is mandated from the Engineers Act of 2011, which I would really advise and recommend all of you to download. the Engineers Act of 2011. You can visit the Engineers Board of Kenya website and download it, or you can just Google and get the document. The document is number 43 of 2011. When you read that, you will understand the mandatory requirements. First of all, it's quite unlawful sometimes to practice engineering if you've not been registered by the board. So it's issues to do with compliance and regulation. So for example, section 49 of the Engineers Act of Kenya, it states, 49 of the Engineers Board of Kenya, it states that there's prohibition of employment. I don't know if you've seen adverts where they state you must be registered with the Engineers Board of Kenya for you to get a certain opportunity. I don't know if you've read that. So that's part of the compliance for employers. So for you, you'll be missing out on opportunities if you do not make the effort to register with EBK. Secondly, there's this notion that once you've graduated from university, you automatically quote unquote what they call an engineer. Well, according to according to the Engineers Act of 2011, Section 47, an engineer is someone who's grown up the tire to level 2, where they're called a professional engineer. So it's very important for you guys to understand the difference. What is a graduate engineer? What is a professional engineer? What is a consulting engineer? Then again, there are people in the industry out here who like to provide professional engineering services when they've not even registered. I'm not going to emphasize so much on tech, but I'm just going to give an example on infrastructure. So you find people out there using unqualified and unregistered engineers to do for them 10-story buildings. Then years down the line, a building has collapsed. So under Section 48 of the Engineers Act of Kenya, it is equally unlawful. So it just goes around the conversation of compliance, opportunities for you people. It's not really for the board. And in addition to all these things I'm saying, it's also important for you guys to be affiliated with us because you'll be the people pushing for the agenda on the policies we'll be developing. Because you're the same people who are supposed to implement these policies. Yeah.
Thank you. Do we remember the article mentioned? Next time you practice, don't find yourself. Know your guidelines. Yes, know your limits and know your guidelines, know what you need to do in order to practice what. A round of applause for our regulator. Gesa. I keep trying to call you a Gesa because we have a Vincent Gesa in IEEE, so forgive my manners. Why is it important for you? There's a Gesa, and Gesa is big on community. He's had activities where he's engaged thousands of, you think this is a big event? He's been organizing activities that are bringing thousands of students together and young professionals. So why is it important for you to be able to push this and to empower young professionals as agents of tech revolution?
Thank you for that. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I would say that we are in the age of Industry 4.0. We are in the age of artificial intelligence. And we're having people build solutions. For a long time, we've been having people build solutions and bring it to us on the continent. And all we've been doing is to become users of these solutions. And all this is from the industry. Industry 1, Industry 2, Industry 3, and even right now, almost Industry 4.0. If I ask you, what was your great-grandfather doing, for example, during Industry 2.0 or 3.0? So we need to get involved because we need inclusivity, we need diversity into all these products that we're building. We need to build hand washing machine where if you go to wash your hands, it can open the taps for you. We need to ensure that all of us are involved. If you see how things like when Facebook were being built, it's young people like you who are in the university, all the guys who just finished school who are building these solutions. This companies like Facebook leverage on 4G network to build their solutions and take their company to go global. Companies like Google use things like 4G network to take their solutions to go globally. Also, young people like you today can utilize both 4G network, 5G network, and get involved and build solutions that can also solve the challenges we're facing here in the country and on the continent and even go globally. So I believe all of us need to be involved. All of us need to get to these events. All of us need to learn on how to do either something in machine learning or in blockchain. And not just that alone, but also go beyond that and even train other people on how to use this and build solutions that solve local challenges.
Thank you. A round of applause. We need to be agents of building solutions. We've had an offbeat turn of events. We are having our moderator come in as a speaker as well, because we have Huawei. He's also from Huawei. And for those of us who are in IEEE, we know how Huawei has been a great friend of IEEE. And one of the people who really driven this has been Lumumba himself. So a round of applause for him. And in that context, we want to understand, so why is it important, we'll ask you the same question, to drive this, to bring this body and others as well, being the industry chair in IEEE, in order to drive that, empower young professionals in that category?
Thank you, Marta, for switching me up like this. I think this is how the carpet is swept from under your feet. But anyway, this is fine. So for me, I look at it from a very historical way. How many of you speak Chinese? I guess so. How many of you have ever read any historical newsletter, paper, whatever it is, translated from Chinese? Translated from Chinese to English. So how much are we missing? Right? We're only confident in knowing Kiswahili and English. But you understand there is a whole world of knowledge that is masked in other languages that we don't really take advantage of. Now, I'm building a case here, so work with me. Now, the Chinese have, and I'm not being biased, I'm being very objective in the factual analysis of what I'm talking about. The Chinese have a philosophy around work that goes 9-9-6. That is, work 9 hours a day. I don't know how many hours a day you guys work. 9 to 9 for 6 days a week. So from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for 6 days a week. Just in the sense of trying to push and advance their communities ahead. How they did this is basically by invoking the power of youth, right? The youth are, if I could quote some authors, the youth are an unbridled source of energy that are waiting to be utilized. How you use that energy is up to you as an organization, up to you as a society. So Huawei is very keen. Even if you look at the workforce of Huawei, I think Michael and I are testaments. It's a very youthful workforce, mostly. You walk into Huawei offices and you find it's filled up with very young professionals. Why? Because they're keen on moving at a fast pace, changing and iterating as fast as possible. So for us as Huawei, it's very important for us to integrate with the young people, get to know how you work, especially Gen Z now, and iterate to that effect. So when you're talking about how why empowering people is important for us as an organization, because that's our talent hiring strategy. But then I could also speak about how IEEE needs young professionals to be part of its workforce, because I stand on both sides of the coin. Now, IEEE effects its change through young people, and that young people, bracket includes also the students. So in this case, we are focused on how do we then, advance technology for humanity by scaling it as fast as possible. So for instance, when we engage with student branches from across the country, it's easy for us to scale that because we know student branches have networks in other campuses as well, and we can easily build a fire that runs. So it's very important for us to ensure we can build a base, say in KU, build a base in Multimedia University, build a base in JQuat, and so on and so forth, and have these young people collaborate across the universities to effect change. So for instance, this is for industry partners, when you engage with these student branches, and I'm hoping you actually do, they will help you actually access other talents from other universities through the projects you'll be working on together. Why is this? Because we normally organize activities, but we invite everyone because we're trying to get support from everyone else across our student branch community. And the same happens even when transit to the workspace. I am a huge beneficiary of IEEE mentoring, even into my young professional life today, mostly because of the opportunities I was exposed to as a student then, which then led me also to Huawei, because when I was in campus, I was exposed to Huawei IEEE activities, and through networking with IEEE members from other student branches, I got to know about Huawei as having a student-focused program as well. And so then I was able to transition and work through that. So it's very important for you as a young person to know what is available through company programs and how you can take effect of that to maximize it for your own benefit.
A round of applause. And from this, I know we've been telling students, their organizations here, please reach out to them. They have opportunities. It's time they go in and mention to the employers in the house, we have brilliant talent in the house. With IEEE, you get training through various activities you're doing. This volunteer work really builds us before you even get into industry. So you're getting very well packaged talent out here. So thank you very much. And before we close up our session, we will give opportunity for questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand to any of our speakers and to any of the categories. At the back, do you have another one? Do you have another question? Don't be shy. The second one?
This one, maybe.
A lady? Thank you. A fourth one. Now we'll close off at that.
So there was one at the corner.
Please raise your hand. Keep your hand up if you're asking a question. Start with the lady. I'm not biased.
All protocols observed. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I pose a question to Beth. I want to know, like, for example, my name is Caroline Revi from Kenyatta University, biomedical engineering students. We know that biomedical engineering is not yet an accredited course. So the IEK has been to our school to accredit the course. And I've heard you talk about the graduate engineers, the internship program you have for them. Do you actually accommodate us people who do not, like people who are not accredited yet? And maybe now that you do not, like our course is not accredited yet, do you recognize us, or what is our space in your EBK, and how can we fit in before the accreditation process is done? Thank you.
Next question, please. We'll consolidate and respond to all of them.
Good afternoon. My name is Denzel. I'm JQuat, electrical engineering student. My question is for the EBK. And as much as you are the regulatory board, I had a question. We tend to see that the certifications to the engineers are more towards specific things like construction, but we have other sides, photonics, science, and all other aspects in engineering. How are you going about incorporating all these other fields of engineering to make engineering broad and cohesive for all people who want to do various things in engineering? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sebastian.
a technology design student from Technical University. And my question is to the ICT friend of mine from Safaricom. I just want to know what criteria are you using to establish the labs that you're saying you are establishing around the country? Because now, like in my school, I can say we are in dire need of such. Yeah.
What's your school, sir?
Technical University.
Two. And you see the student work with the group.
Hello to everyone. I'm Omani Godwin from JQuat, doing electronics and computer engineering.
Volume, please.
My name is Ambani from JQuat, doing EC, electronics and computer engineering. My question is towards Mr. Marvin. I forgot position at Safaricom, but you mentioned something interesting about the training in conjunction with ARM. So I'd just like for you to elaborate about the training program. You just mentioned it, but I'd like you to elaborate on it. Thank you.
We have one last question. Since we only had one lady, we'll allow that one question.
Hi everyone, my name is Cecilia Mchino from the Technical University of Kenya. I'm a student of mechanical engineering. So my question goes to the EBK. There is this conversation around the accreditation. So right now we are told there is a stalemate between EBK and KYSP, the Commission for University Education, that I really don't know the real conversation about it, but people are saying that they are fighting on who is supposed to come to the universities to do their accreditation. Because we're asking ourselves this question. Why is it that TSC has never come to maybe KU or JQuat or to tell them whether they have like enough infrastructure or facilities to like offer the courses that students are taking? And it's only EBK, I think in Kenya it's only EBK that is a regulatory body that comes into the universities to ask or to just tell us that this university is capable of offering this engineering course. Why do we have EBK and these other regulatory bodies and never into universities? So that is my concern.
We'll start ICT and then we can handle all the questions in order. Thank you for the wonderful questions.
Okay, all right. So the first one on the labs. So we are setting up labs at hubs in the country and in different universities. And the key things we're looking into these labs is one is accessibility. We want to set up labs where anyone who is passionate about embedded systems and passionate about machine learning can be able to access the lab. Of course, there will be a process in which all these people can access the lab. We're also looking into things like sustainability. We don't want to set up a lab with these conglomerate of partners and then after 2 years or so, it's not there anymore. We want to set up these labs with these partners where once you set it up, it can be there and you can be able to add even more things on top of it. So there is accessibility, there is sustainability, and since we also bring this equipment to that university or that hub, they need to give us the space where we can put up those equipments and those tools. So any partner who is able to give us guarantee us accessibility, sustainability, and give us space, we'll be able to set up a lab with them. All right. So the second one on ARM, I mean, most people, it's really very hard to tell people what ARM does. So what I tell them is that ARM is like this company that all these personal tell people stories, and then some people write books about the stories. In other words, ARM is the IP company that have instruction sets on how to make chips. RM.
What does it start with?
And it's RM.
It's just RM.
Yeah. So they have this instruction set that they give chip makers, and then chip makers will build the chips on top of it. And you'll find these chips on your Arduino. How many guys use this Arduino? Raspberry Pi, STML. Alright, so all these devices, they mostly use ARM IP. In fact, Arduino is an ARM company. And even today at Safaricom, most of our devices that we use, almost 80% of them runs on something called STM32L, which is based on ARM IP. And therefore, ARM is training people to build more devices, since from Safaricom point of view and from the industry point of view, we want to see more devices into the ecosystem. So we're training more people how to get started building hardware, and we give you online courses where you can learn from edX, a course from Harvard University. We also have physical sessions where we can come and get you started, show you the board, show you how to connect it, show you how to run firmware on the devices or on the dev kit. And once we train you, we give you certifications, we give you visibility, we allow other people to know that you've done a particular thing. Yeah.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for the Huawei ICT Michael Kamau. For Duke University, he was asking about the labs and what criteria you use, and it can be set in the university, I believe. I'm told they already have a lab in Duke for Huawei, so well done with that.
They want more labs.
They're very active. So we go on to our regulator for the questions addressed, please. And we have 4 minutes.
What I'm about to explain, I don't think 4 minutes is enough, but I'll try. Okay, I'm hearing a lot of questions around accreditation. Unfortunately, I'm not from the accreditation department, but I will do my best to highlight the dark areas there. Accreditation was mandated by the most recent controlling early this year to Commission on University of Education. So the board is in partnership working with QAir towards accreditation issues as we speak right now. However, since that controlling, you know the 3 arms of government, for those who do not know. The parliament is the one that developed QAir. The same parliament is the one that developed EBK. Then there happened to be overlapping acts in the process. Then judiciary interprets the laws. And the Attorney General, which is under the executive, concluded that QAir should be mandated to do accreditation. Government agencies work together, they do not fight. So what does EBK do? We comply and we work with the law. But we advise. So we're working together with QAir and accreditation issues. Number 2, we do not call it accreditation anymore. At the board, we call it independent review. So what does this mean? We are working in partnerships with the universities. It is the initiative and upon the university to approach the board for guidance. But the board cannot implement these recommendations for the universities. We've seen cases where the universities which are teaching civil engineering and they do not have a laboratory. And these are the same people who will be released into the market to construct 10-story buildings in the future. And then we'll wake up one day in the newspaper, we read the building has collapsed. So the purpose of independent review, or what was once called accreditation, is to just do the checks and balances and accountability. We've seen cases where some universities have maybe a lecturer who did agricultural engineering, but they're teaching something totally different from what they learned. So the question is accreditation there to be an enemy, or is it there to support and work the journey with you guys? It's how we look at things. But as we speak, we understand the universities who have had some courses for so many years, and the students are graduating every year. We understand it's not the students' fault, and that's why we're working closely with the universities. And I think under Section 50 of the Engineers Act of 2011, it's actually unlawful for a university to provide training programs if they've not been accredited.
but now we are seeing a lot of universities coming towards us for recommendation and guidance. So when we do some of this recommendation and guidance, if we recommend to a university, please develop a laboratory. And the university manages to develop that laboratory after 2 years or after 5 years. Then that is when there'll be now green light for that university to be accredited. So it's also not just a question of if there's a laboratory or not, but when does the university finally implement what was recommended? So the conversation goes between the university and the students most of the time, because we can only recommend but we cannot implement for the university. I hope I'm answering a bit more generally for all of you. I think I've taken 6 minutes.
If our attendees will allow, there's an important question I expected from the crowd, so I will ask on behalf, being a member who sits on IEEE, IEK, and as a verified graduate engineer of Engineers Board of Kenya, what is the difference between EBK, IEK, and what are the benefits of being part of these societies and being accredited? Verified.
I thought we were having an IEK representative here. They can speak more on the mandate. But what I can say, Engineers Board of Kenya is the government, the regulatory body. Okay? The state agency, the government body. So we are mandated by the Engineers Act of 2011. Why I keep on singing, you need to download it and read more for yourselves. Because it's something we can't really run away from. I've had stories of people saying, I've worked for 10 years without being registered by the board, and I'm happy and I'm successful. Remember, the only thing constant in life is change. What if that company wakes up one day and says, now we need to comply according to the Engineers Act under Section 47. Are you registered by EBK? Yes or no? Change is constant. Don't be caught in a surprise. Just start the process. And I think we've had another fear and perception that it's difficult to register. No, it's not. All our documents are on the website, www.ebk.go.ke. And the board is now doing transformative type of stakeholder and client relations. We're now going to the counties, we're knocking doors on all these parastatals and government agencies, and we're proactively trying to register these engineers. Now, IEK is an association, and I think all of you guys who are students here, they have a students chapter. I would encourage you, if you're an ongoing engineering student, please register with IEK. And for those who are asking about if you're not accredited, where are you in the space with EBK? We do still accept those applications because we know accreditation is not an overnight success. But once you're still registered with IEK, you do not disappear from the engineering conversations. Because we partner a lot, EBK and IEK, we partner a lot. You will not be lost in the engineering conversations. So please be proactive from your end and register.
Okay, thank you. Allow me to take the mandate that my co-speaker now mentioned. In terms of IEK, I sit on both sides of the coin. So I'm an IEEE member, I've seen the benefits, and I'm also in IEK, and I can tell you for sure, being engineers here in Kenya and that we sit here, I believe we are all from engineering background and we're looking to continue our engineering courses, right? Someone earlier asked me, you actually did engineering and you're practicing. You know, they're actually surprised. And one of the things that has really helped is being present in the engineering community in Kenya. And how do you do that? So Engineers Board of Kenya will verify, yes, you're an engineer, you've done your course, you've graduated, you're actually in the engineering community. But what places you now, if I ask you which engineers are doing civil engineering in Kenya, which engineers are doing electrical engineering in Kenya, who is doing what in Kenya, would you be able to know that? So what puts you in a space where you're able to know the engineering people in Kenya, let me say people, because now it's IEK. And as you get into IEK, we have an IEK representative again in the evening to speak. You will get into a community, the questions you're asking, the guidance you need in order to know what to do, in order to become to be verified by EBK. When you're getting to your to be verified as a professional engineer, again, there's programs they do, there's training they do in order to prepare you for this, and even in your practices, so that you're not caught in the wrong step. With EBK, you've gone and done a job which you're not verified for. This is the society that is going to actually guide you and help you through it. So if you really want to practice your engineering, please join IEK, understand how engineering in Kenya works, be an IEEE member, get yourself to the global stage. But if you really want to be well established as an engineer in Kenya, please go through these bodies to be accredited and to know how to participate. So thank you very much. To our speakers, to our attendees, please a round of applause as the close of our session.
We're now coming towards the close of our function. What a day has been. Really, really great. Thank you to all the speakers for being here since morning until now. Thank you all attendees. I want to ask, in this world they say, for you to have success, it's best when you have mentorship. It is even further advised when you have reverse mentoring, where can be upward or downward, regardless of the direction. It could be a senior to a junior or a junior to a senior. But we all need this in order for us to move forward. And I want to ask, within IEEE, how many knew that there's a site where you can get mentorship? You can either apply to be a mentor or you can get mentorship from. How many know about that site? Someone? I want to confirm that the truth is being said. Where is that? Yes, I can see a guy. Can you tell me where you can find it? Kipiji was in the house. These are the people that we want to, get some freebies when you're getting to our gala dinner.
The site is at IEEE KYSP mentorship program.
Okay, so I'm saying it's at IEEE PS mentorship program. That's correct. At the same time, yes. At the same time, at IEEE website, the global, www.ieee.org, you can get, I want to mention because I'll be encouraging people to go there. I've shortened, so I'll use bit.ly bit.ly / 3TK NTS6. I'll repeat, bit.ly / 3TK NTS6. But that's just introduction of this mentorship. Perhaps we'll get more from the panel that's about to come next. So I'm sure that they also have their knowledge and we want to hear them. And they'll also be here physically, so it will be an opportunity for us to ask them live questions and to be able, listen to them directly. So, as you are applauding them, allow me to usher in the following. Humphrey Muhiri from SIPO. Well, the clap stopped. Stanley and Sonia, Power and Energy. Dr. Jerry Garia, ICT Academy. Flora Mtera from TUC. Lamek Mwendwa from InfraPlus Consultants. I also love the diversity. So let's hear from what
the guys' side, the ladies' side, and all this will be led by Sarah Wambui from Mentoring Africa.
Good evening, everybody, once again. I think this is going to be the funnest part of the entire Congress because there won't be a lot of seriousness. It will be more of a social, interactive session. And it's good that we, at the end of this session, I will challenge all the students, even us people. If you feel there's somebody here who has talked in such a way that they made you very happy and made you feel like you want to talk like them, approach them to be a mentor, okay? So it's going to be very interactive. I would like you guys to now think beyond being an engineer, think beyond being a student, and now get somebody to handhold you into the workspace. Are we together? Okay, good. So on to my very interactive session. I have awesome panelists here, and we are going to discuss all about mentorship. We are not talking about engineering. We are not talking about I don't know what, IoT, AI. No. It's all about social skills, personalities, temperaments, and mentorship. Okay. So now, all of you, in your own words, in your own very brief, what can you tell the students, because we are actually talking to them, what can you tell them what a mentor is, or what a mentee is, and the benefits? At least you can actually give us a very short story from your experience. How did you experience being a mentor or a mentee? We go in a line. No one is safe.
Thank you for that question. I think I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Humphrey Muhindi. I'm a telecommunications professional. Having been here and hearing what she said, I'm not yet registered as an engineer, so I won't call myself that, but I'm a telecommunications professional, work with Seco, Kenya Limited. We are undersea fiber cable providers, so basically the gateway for internet traffic out of East Africa, along the East Coast. Personally, I'm in the implementation department, so our work is to implement the services that customers need. When it comes to mentorship, I look at it as being a father. I look at it as borrowing from what she said, handholding, taking someone through what they need to, what they would like to learn. First of all, it's identifying what they would like to learn, taking them through it, and guiding them through that particular process. So if you look at a kid, when a kid wants to know something, they'll always come to you innocently and ask you, how can I do this? Or I want to do, or demand that they want to do this. So it is up to you to see at what level is this child at? What is the capability? How can I guide them so that they can be able to go ahead and do what they want or achieve what they want? So in a sense, mentorship is something similar. So getting someone, if it's a student, finding out, identifying what they need, identifying how they can get to that point of getting what they need, their current level, what level are they at, and taking them through that process, going through that process together with that person. That's what mentorship is to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mentorship is a journey. I have been a mentor. and I am at the moment still a mentee. And I perceive mentorship as a targeted experience where you get to grow in a specific area, because mentorship could be diverse, could be professional, could be social, and it's upon the both parties, the mentor and the mentee, to identify what area are we mentoring on and how do we want to get there. And once we get there, how will we know that we have arrived at our destination? Thank you.
I think I'll just maybe just do an overflow from Sadi. For me, I look at it as a holistic growth of an individual. So for this particular case is look up to someone that you possibly can actually tell you can be able to get the holistic growth. Preferably, if you can get it from one person, or good. From varied persons, people, it's also good. So for me, the case of mentorship, it's the place of the social growth, professional growth, also spiritual growth, and any other kind of growth that is out there. And make it at least be with someone that you can be able to be comfortable with. You can be able to actually open up with. Because this is a space that you want to grow. This is a space that you want to make mistakes and not be scolded, but be able to grow in a space that you know you're going to be led well. Yeah.
I had in that question, when did we get into the notion of mentorship? I think for me it was at my master's when we were told there was a portion of assessment that was being given out to you mentoring your classmates. So they were actually giving us marks for doing the mentorship thing. So it started then when I was made very aware that this journey cannot be done alone, but you must be intentional about taking people along with you on that journey. And slowly it worked into my ethos, into my daily living. I teach, so it's my job description. I enjoy it thoroughly. But courage is gained from the person beside you. It's a journey, like was said, and you cannot do it alone. So I had to learn to mentor. And then I also had to learn to ask for mentorship, right? So there's the courage to walk up to somebody and say, hey, I can't do this alone. Kindly help me walk through. What do I need to do? How can I do it? Show me as well as tell me how. So it's being kind, being considerate, and taking someone along that journey.
So thank you for the opportunity. My name is Namek Wendwa. I'm in the construction industry and like the EPK regulatory official she said earlier about that engineer, so let me not use the title engineer. I think when I think of the word mentorship and I look at my journey so far, I think there's a big essence of having a learning attitude, even when you identify that mentor, being open to constructive criticism, especially when you're not so, I think as humans we're not so open to being pushed in a corner and being told maybe you could have done this better. We sometimes have this tendency to lean towards I know everything, but when you're in whatever profession you're in, if it's tech, if it's construction, whatever line of work you're in, you're going to have a notion of I'm here to learn, I'm here to be of service, I'm here to grow, because whoever you're under has been through what you've been through. So they can shorten the learning curve if you're willing to take on board what they're offering you, what they're making you aware of.
Thank you. Do we have sound engineers here? We've been having issues with these mics. So anyway, yeah, that is all about mentorship. And one of the things that you as young professionals should know is that once you have somebody who's holding your hand, your journey, as he has said, your learning curve becomes shorter. You learn so much in a very short time, and you're able to interact with people even better than your peers can. So it's very important for you students and young professionals to get a mentor in every aspect of the world,
it's good for you to get a mentor. So now, my panelists, in your workplaces, do you think that mentorship is something that has been given a keen eye? Do you have programs where you mentor young professionals or interns? I'll give you a very short story. I like giving stories because that's how I pass my message the best. Where I was working in the banking industry, I used to have a young professional program that used to run for 2 years. And within these 2 years, every 6 months, we had to have a mentor, a mentee. Because they come in as fresh graduates, they have no clue what a printer looks like, they have no clue how to send an email, and you work with them for 6 months. Then another one comes, that one goes to another department, and you realize it takes so much of your time as a banker who has targets. You have your quarterly targets. If you don't meet those targets, you get probation. But you still have to mentor these young kids who come in as fresh graduates. So in your workplaces, is there a mentorship program, where you handhold, you teach them the ropes of the industry that you are in? Maybe I can start with you, Daktari. You can, especially within the school, the academia space. And then we can have somebody else who's not in the academia space, in a job environment, okay, not a job environment, in an organization. So do you mentor your students in terms of being ready to the career world? And when they get to the career world, are they handheld by the organization? Are there such impacts?
Okay, I think I can actually start. I think, can you hear me? Can I be heard now? Yes, I can actually hear myself. So I think, let me just start with something that's a tragic story that happened some time back in school. And I'm glad I'm actually having students here, and it's good to be able to be that open. So at times the things that actually happen in school and they're hush-hush, but they need to be talked about so that each and every time, and especially the time that you're actually going through mental issues. There's a case that a student was not able to pass their project, and it's a final project that can actually not be able to graduate. So when it comes to panels, for those days where it took, for those days, I can't tell exactly which school it was, but it actually happened in our school. So during the panel presentations, this particular young person was told that they did not manage to actually pass the project, that they were really, really great. And what happened next is that he was actually an orphan. So he used to stay with the grandmother. So they knew in the village that they're preparing for a graduation party in December. But he was not telling the grandparents that there will be no party. So what happens? He just decided to end his life. And end his life where? In his own grandmother's house. So question is, what could have been done different? Are you able as students to take the pressure that comes with schoolwork? Does it mean that even if you are at times criticized, it might not come out well because not everyone is able to be to have that empathy with you guys? Are you able to actually pick it up as a positive criticism and just go and work better on it and be able to now make your life better? This is a young man that when lecturers are looking back in their grade sheets, this is a young man who had A's and B's. It's only that he just did a small blunder in his project. So a young man just goes like that, just because he was not open enough to ask for help. Yeah? So where do you guys ask for help? And where you ask for help is where you can actually say, I trust this particular person, and I'll be able to actually sit down with them and be able to talk to them. I've had a couple of students, they actually look at me, when they come to talk to me,
They don't look at me as Mwalimu. They come and look at me and I tell them, when you're talking to me like this particular time, I'm your older sister. I'm your bigger sister. Talk to me. I've talked to men and I've talked to ladies. Yeah? So when you, at times we might be hard on you because we want you to be better in your life. Just because maybe there's a place that you guys are trying to play around there and they're trying to shape you. But when you come and find our softer side, our softer side listens to you guys. And we are very, very, we really want to actually empathize with you and be able to just take you guys through that particular life. So kindly. How many kindly have I asked? Have I used? Kindly. Don't die alone. And when I say don't die alone, don't die. The physical death is fine, but there's a way you can actually waste yourself. Is it so that one that dies inside you? And when it actually dies inside you, you see that there's no meaning in life. So kindly approach some of us. Or you can actually even go to the maybe the easiest way. Just go to, for those guys in School of Computing at TUK, I can actually just give you where to actually go to, just in case. Yeah? So you know Jocelyn, yeah? Just go to Jocelyn. Jocelyn is the administrator of the school, and she's a counselor. She'll actually point you out to people you can actually talk to, because she knows all of us. So she knows Jerry can be talked to or not to, depends, yeah? This other person can be talked to or not to, yeah? So kindly. Mentorship is there, even if it's not maybe a body that is seen in school. Mentorship is there, and if you want a one-on-one, we are so very much ready to listen to you guys. Okay? Sasa, until I see many notes, because I don't want to hear someone that, whether you take your life, hit that coffee until you wake up. Yeah.
Thank you. So, within our environment, we do have mentorship programs that we have, both formal and informal. Formal in the sense that we have the internship programs where we regularly take students from university, continuing students from university for 2 to 3 months, depending on their availability. And they are taken through the company processes, what the company is all about, and the work that goes on within specific departments, depending on their area of study. We also have informal kind of mentorship, which is more peer-to-peer. And this is where you find that within a department or within a team, you can have people at different levels. I might be an expert in a certain aspect. You might be just someone coming in, a new employee or a new, maybe just a beginner in that particular field. So what we do is that informally we pair these two people, and you can actually learn from your colleague and get to upskill yourself to get to somewhere, if not at their level, somewhere close to their level. So in a way, there is mentorship happening between colleagues, and there's also mentorship happening for students who are coming in. These are coming in as interns for 2 to 3 months. We also have a graduate, introducing a graduate trainee program, which will be more long-term, something like 6 months to 1 year. And that is a longer-term sort of training where someone will come in, a student who has graduated will come in and be attached to different units within the organization. So those are some of the opportunities that are there for mentorship. Others are more one-on-one, as had been pointed out, which is where a senior person may see something in someone who is junior to them, or maybe in their team, and they will work with them on that particular item. Let's say you are not skilled in a certain, you don't have a certain skill, be it communication skills, be it presentation skills. It doesn't have to be the technical bit, it can even be the soft skills. So that person will work with you so that they can actually better you in that particular area so that you can be better at it, both at work and in your personal life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The story that Daktari has given has made me remember a talk series that we have as e-mentoring called Nobody Told Me. And it's a series that goes on every month. And here we get speakers who tell the youth some of those things that if they were told, their lives would have been different. If somebody had told that boy that making a mistake in his project is never that serious, we would probably still be alive today, but maybe we are going to figure it out. But the most important thing is there are those blunders that we make, when we are young, and later in life, we wish somebody had told us. So it is called Nobody Told Me. They actually run every month, and now you're all my audiences. We shall be having the next one on 17th of November. And it is very, very important to hear big stories from elder people. Not old, just elder people. Because we are not old, but we are experienced. It's good to hear stories about experienced people, and maybe that can help you make informed decisions about your career, your life, your marriage, your friends, your social life. It all depends on what does it speak to you about, okay? So now, we are going to get to that, because you'll all be thinking of something that nobody told you when you were young, that if you had done then, how would it have impacted your life today? It could be good or bad. So now let's go to the young professionals getting into the workplace. How do they, when they are sending in their applications, when they are writing their CVs, what do they bring out? That sometimes you look at a CV or an application and you're wondering, I just want to see this person's face because he has no clue what he or she was writing. Or I really want to see this person because you cannot be this young and you're this experienced. So what are some of the things, some of the challenges that you get when hiring or onboarding young professionals, onboarding people who are just from college, whether as interns or as young professionals or just as employees? We'll all answer that. So make it brief, but let's all go. Thank you. I'll highlight two areas that I always encourage the recent graduates and young professionals to focus on, especially if you're from the technical background. The first area is communication. When you get into the workplace, we know you understand all the formulas and all the technical terms that come with the training. But in the workplace, we have elderly people who forgot all that jargon that we learned in class. And that means you have to bring your softer side for you to be able to really understand this technical term and actually understand the personality of the person that you're engaging. So we need to improve on our communication skills. That does not mean do not speak out. Does not mean do not say when you're uncomfortable. Speak out, but do it well. And on that, I just summarize and say, at the end of the day, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. For instance, someone can ask in a meeting, Daktari, take the minutes. And the next person will be like, hi Daktari, do you mind taking the minutes for our meeting today? Those are two different things that are meant to communicate that one thing about not taking. But the first one may appear to be a bit aggressive and she'll be like, is it because I'm the woman in this room? Or is it because I'm the attaché, I'm the intern, or the recent employee? But the second one would appear to be a request. So communication is one. And secondly, is when you are sending in your application, the letter, the cover letter, the CV, or even your email, write your sentences in complete sentences, check on grammar, check on punctuation. That is all.
I think because I gone through the process of having to write a CV or the cover letter. I think when you're making your job application, there are always those keywords that are in the job advertisement, or it's the internship opportunity you're applying for. So it's a rule of thumb to always try and include as many as you can in your CV, because we have what you call a ATS system that is used to like screen through the CVs that are received. So you want your CV to make the cut, to actually make it to the desk of the HR personnel that's going to now screen you further. I think another thing you want to make your profile stand out. So the things that you do beyond class, try document that. If it's things that you have done, like IEEE is basically about impacting humanity and society. So if you've done things outside of class, please document that. It's not more of a brag sheet or anything like that, but it's going to help you in your pursuit of.
Are you able to even request maybe your parents to be able to even like maybe pay for that? And who knows? They're actually going to accept it all. If they don't, see you safe. Or you can actually check home and then save the money. You guys will have to know how to survive, okay? So at the end of it all, you have a certificate, and what else? So you're going to graduate next year probably. So you're graduating, and what else? Because everyone will be graduating. If you look at this whole room over here, you'll be graduating with the same maybe degree. What makes you different? Think about that.
I remembered something because we had this talk with my students. So I'm a multimedia designer, I'm a creative, I'm the A in the STEAM. And we were talking about the authenticity of that proposal that you're telling somebody, I am this, I can do this, and you need to ask yourself, did you go through the due process? And if you've done the work, you've kept it real, that will culminate in the fruit. It's like a spiritual principle, right? You are behind that artifact, from ideation all the way to production, to post-production. Once you sit in front of that job panel to be asked those questions, there's no way you can fake it, right? So don't go proclaiming things that you weren't responsible for. It's gonna turn out bad, right? So you want to be genuinely involved in the learning process, feeding into that process. The end product is you standing before that panel, and trust you me, we are going to see it and embrace it. If it's fake, it's on my mind, they'll bite it. All right? I just needed to do that.
I think I'll just wind up by mentioning one thing that I have done that, in the past. When hiring, we're looking for interns at some point in a technical support team, and our requirements were that this person must be at least pursuing a degree course or have done a degree course, just finished. But there's one guy who came, and he did not have these qualifications, and I don't even know how his CV landed there, but he ended up getting that job, or rather, I ended up hiring that person. The main reason being, the guy came in and he was very confident. He came and he told us, fine, I may not have your requirements, but he had that attitude, and he showed an attitude that this is a guy who can easily and quickly learn and get into and do these things. And he talked to us about all the things that he's doing in his personal life. How he's going about making money, trying to get money so that he can pay his rent, trying to get money so that he can support his siblings. And we looked at this guy and we say, fine, it's internship, it's 3 months, let's take that risk. And that person is still there up to now. That's about 7 years later. And he's a senior engineer now in that team. So one thing that is also good, especially at an entry level when you're going for that job, have that confidence, have that attitude, and as she said, it also comes with authenticity. Yeah? If you know you can do it, you can go in and clearly say it. But if you're faking it, it will be picked out and people will listen to you to give you that audience, but they will dismiss you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the insights. Just to add on to the Coursera's and Huawei and all those, there's a European Business University. They have three months course for 2,500 scholarship. So who can't afford 2,500? Kenya shillings. You only pay administrative cost. The cost is 80,000, but the scholarship is 2,500. And in 3 months you have your certificate. You learn this now, these other skills away from engineering, business development, such kind of skills, accounting and business management and that kind of stuff. So it's good that you pointed out about the CV and presenting yourself, because when you're presenting your CV, when you're writing your CV or sending an application, you have to show what you can do for them. Don't just tell them, I mean, we are, yeah, let me not say what I wanted to say. But the thing is, you want to show the prospective employer that over and above who you are, you can deliver what they have asked in the job advertisement. You can tell them in your cover letter, you can tell them, I always, my motto is asking myself, how can I do things better? Like make it catchy. Make it not just, I am a 17, no, not 17. I am a 25-year-old fresh graduate, Kenyan, single, and I am looking for a job, and I have seen you. No. You have to make it as authentic, have to make it catchy. Let the person reading it wish it was even longer. Okay. So now, as we come to the end of our panel, I want my very intelligent panel to give me one thing, to tell us one thing, share with us one thing that nobody told you. One thing that nobody told you, and one thing that you thank your younger self for. So the one thing that nobody told you could be either it turned out negative in your life, or thank God you did not know it because it helped your life in the future. So, and start with, nobody told me that, and you continue, and continue with your sentence. And then, I thank my younger self for.
Nobody told me that as a young person, you need to have a culture of saving money and investing any extra money that you may have. So my story is interesting because when I was in campus, I used to get this help, and I was a regular student, so I used to get this help and scholarship, bursary, and the loan. So I used to have money. But, okay, the money to cover the tuition and accommodation, everything that is required. During our time, that was enough to cover the costs. And what used to happen, we used to live in Mombasa. So I had relatives all over the country. So I would go and visit each and every one of them before reporting to campus. And that meant, at the time, I actually owned my first phone, mobile phone, when I was in third year. So the first 3 years, communication had to be physical. You had to go to this person to talk to them. So when you go to talk to them and tell them I'm going back to school, they would, of course, send you off with something. So by the time I did my rounds in Mombasa, I did my rounds in Nairobi, I was in Eldoret. So by the time I got to Eldoret, I had some good pocket change. And so I will go register, then now complete the circuit by going to Sharks now in Western and seeing the people who are that side. So by the time I settled in school and started learning, I had some good extra money. but that money was all spent. I can't say I could account for anything. During our time, we had everything in campus, so you just carry your bag from home and go there. So I didn't manage to do that. And I think that culture came with me, followed me to my professional life. After graduating, when I started working, I was lucky I was staying at home for the first 2 years, 1.5 years. So that salary I used to get, as much as I would do some shopping at home so that I could appease the old guys, the people there. I couldn't really put anything, anything tangible that I did with that money. Later on and I thank my wife for this because otherwise it would have been bad. That was almost 3-4 years into my work life when I got engaged. That's when she started saying, hey, what do you do with your money? All this money that you get, initially as a man, you start thinking, well, what do you have to do to know about my money? But once we sat down and I actually looked at it and said, all this money that I could have actually saved and maybe invested in something, these past 4 years, or even from campus, I would have been far, far ahead than where I was at that time. So that's something I learned, and it's something that I would like to encourage you as students and the young professionals who are here, if you haven't started. It doesn't matter how much, but just start. Once you have that culture, when you get something more, you save more. When you start less, then you will go bit by bit on that. So that's something important that I learned. And what I'm grateful about for myself is I'm someone who likes trying out things. I'm not shy to experiment, to go out of my comfort zone. So that has helped me in life, even within IEEE, my professional life. I always try out stuff when I think there's something I can gain from it. Thank you.
Let's try this.
Nobody told me that it is very important to believe in myself and nobody else. Matters if I am confident in what I am doing. And I thank my younger self that I am a risk taker. If I believe in it, I'll go ahead and do it. If it is a success, then I pat myself on the back. If it is a fail, I pick the lessons and move on.
Well, nobody told me that imposter syndrome is actually alive. But it's a story for another day. I thank my younger self because I didn't know that that was imposter syndrome I was suffering from, because maybe I would have been mentally, I would actually be maybe down, I don't know, yeah. So I thank my younger self for being naive, for not knowing all these things, but now I know and I can be able to maybe pick it up from someone else and be able to tell you help them out.
It's back with the last ones. We finished all the good stuff. I can't participate in Nobody Told Me. You all haven't met my mother. She tells you everything all the time, so we came fully equipped, right? For real. I thank my younger self, and there's a quote that I told the team that we're here with, is you owe your dreams your courage. And that's by a South African poet called Koleka. So I thank my younger self for being courageous enough to pursue my dreams.
I think all those parting shots and insights are really profound. I'll try my best in mind. I think no one told me, or maybe I was not as aware, if you're not careful of the voices around you and the people who speak into your life, sometimes you can be discouraged, and it carries weight. So it's very important to keep a very positive outlook in life, even when things don't go necessarily the way you expect them. Live in a very volatile life, you hear retrenchment. You heard about tech companies laying off people. So you need to have a very positive outlook, because if you're not careful, you may find yourself in a downward spiral. And I think not many of us that previously have brothers who speak into our lives like that, so it's an important thing. Something I thank my younger self for is not fearing to get things wrong, having, let's say, outgoing, confident personality. I think that's helped me in a lot of ways in forums such as this. You get to meet people, so sometimes coming out of your shell can be a challenge, but if you work on it, if you believe in yourself, it can be a very valuable asset. Thank you.
So thank you so much. I hope you've learned a thing or two. And during the networking session, I challenge each one of you. If you, during these 2 days that we've had the Congress, if there's somebody that you feel you liked how they talk, or liked how they dressed, or liked how they carried themselves, and then somebody you'd want to mentor you, be fearless and approach that person. Because we all need mentors. I have somebody I'm going to right now as my other mentor, because I already have my mentor, and you can have 1 or 2 mentors. So I challenge you to look for a mentor, either in your career space, your belief, your social circles. Get somebody who can hold your hand, get somebody who can walk with you and make the best out of you. The most important thing about a mentor is that they bring out that power in you. They push you to the limits. They push you to be the best version you can be, if you agree, if you accept. Okay? So thank you very much, my people. It was awesome. I've learned so much from you as well, and we hope to continue with this interaction during the networking session. Thank you.
There's one of speakers who mentioned, I think it was also this last panel, where they said they don't talk about everything engineering, everything IoT, everything signals. Someone even asked for a sound engineer. So yes, as engineers, sometimes you might find other opportunities that could be, one could ask, oh, maybe you can do that. How did you get there? How did you know? Who did you know? And right now, I want to just portray to you one of those examples. And we are lucky enough to have someone from County Government of Kwale. She's called Nuru. She's an engineer, but she has something exciting. For just 5 minutes, she let us know what it is before we take a break.
Habari zenu. Nimepewa dakika chache sana. I hope nitazitendea haki. Tumeambiwa tusijiite wahandisi, so sisi sio maengineer, sisi ni wanafunzi wa uhandisi, lakini tunafanya kazi, si ndio? Mimi kwa majina naitwa Nuru Mohamed, natoka serikali gatuzi ya Kwale. Natumia Kiswahili kwa makusudi because I know there's a stereotype. I know English very well, but I'll switch it up in the middle. So I come from the county government of Kwale. Katika serikali gatuzi ya Kwale, mimi ni katibu wa kudumu wa mazingira, ardhi, mazingira, maliasili na ukuzaji wa miji. Now let me start saying that in English. In the county government, I'm a chief officer responsible for environment, lands, natural resources, and urban development. My background is engineering in water and environmental engineering. I went to Njoro actually in 2007. I'm actually old, but still young, in the middle. So, mguu iko kwa maturity, mguu iko kwa youth. So what I wanted to say is, which is something I want all of us to relate. I know there is that notion that if you came to engineering school, you need to carry your problems in your face. When I was in engineering school, I remember we were only 3 girls in a class of 35. And every other time you look at the school, everybody was looking so shaggy. You know, Njoro is so cold. And the morning classes are communication skills, because those are watu wengi. So we were like 500, Nobody has combed their hair, everybody's looking like a hooligan, and it's so cold because you have like 3 jackets on. And remember, mimi natoka pwani, so hizi sura zilikuwa zinatisha, yani unakaa unashangaa hapa nitapata mume lini hapa. Sijui kama unanielewa. And the worst part is, for me to even decide to be an engineer, coming from a patriarchal society, marginalized, a community that doesn't even know what it means to have a good source of water, was a problem. So I had taken myself up a step, knowing kwanza my parents don't relate. Why would you want to become an engineer? You'd rather be a doctor, it's relatable, people understand, because you'll be treating people and we will be seeing your clients. And the worst part of it is, 0 mentors, the community doesn't understand why you do water engineering, but every time I look at them, the passion was, if I cannot provide a solution, then there's no point of me even going to school in the first place. So that was the driver. So initially I wanted to do marine engineering because I thought, bahari iko hapa, port iko hapa. You know, I can be one of those nice guys who can just do the first ship in Kenya. And then that dream collapsed when I realized we come from a very humble family, we can't afford taking people to South Africa to learn that. Then I changed my stance. I applied for water and environmental engineering, which was now the closest to marine, obviously. And we come from a place that is arid and semi-arid. Quali, apart from Diani, I know that an event with IEEE. Apart from what you know about Diani, the rest of Quali, 80% is aside. No water, no food. As we speak, we are amongst the 14 counties that receive the Equitable Fund. We are amongst the counties that right now lorries zimeenda huko. So when Rigiji was releasing food, we received like two trucks so that we can feed people. We are still struggling with the water issue. I've never had an opportunity to tell people how important it is to look for something you're passionate about. Now, I finished a graduate school and my course is not accredited. When I was doing that course, I had gone to HELP to request for my loan. And they had adamantly refused because my parent is a public service officer and they're thinking he can afford 1 kid in college is not a problem. I come from a polygamous family, that does not work. So I went there with my passion. I cried to that mzee. The beauty of it was the Somali guy said was like, when he talks about polygamy, I kind of understand because we're like 10 and I'm the first person to go to graduate school. And if that dream collapses there, then it's like you've killed the dream of the whole of Kwale. And that guy just signed me the loan immediately. I'm trying to teach you what these mentors have just spoken about so that we can journey together on this process. Then I finished school and my dad was like, since sikulipa chochote, ile pesa nilisave, unataka nifungue biashara ama nikulipie shule? I went quickly to the University of Dar es Salaam and be like, what's the cheapest master's degree I can do? Because my biggest investment is the brain. Because what you're looking at right now does not anyway emulate how Kwale would look like when you think about opportunities and advantages that counties are able to invest in. I went to the University of Dar es Salaam. By the time I was done by my 18 months course, I was called to be the project director for an NGO. So I was earning like a 6-figure nice in, as an expatriate, making money, and then the project ends, and then I go back to enroll for my PhD. So all of that is engineering. Like there's no part I'm doing management. The passion for water and environment. Now after I enrolled on that, the project that was sponsoring me was co-owned by London School of Economics. And then the project phased out. Nikaishiwa. Went back to the drawing board, came back home, started thinking, what do I do? I started volunteering in people's offices. So nilienda kwa consultant for hydrogeology, we were drilling boreholes, I was so happy. Little money, but people's faces were enlightened the moment they realized tunaweza pata maji leo ama kesho. So I drilled Taita, I drilled Magarini in Kilifi, I drilled Ruitu, I went to Lamu. I traveled as a support staff. Unajua vile unavaa tuka nini na kahijab kako hapo, umevaa overall na shangaa mtoto wa Kiswahili atasurvive. And I survived. 6 months into the job, county advertises for chief officer. And I go there and the only thing I brought to the interview panel was my passion to change lives. That's how I've survived for the past 3 years. I sit, I write budgets, I decide what communities should get. As a chief officer, I'm the accounting officer for that whole department. I decide who becomes my contractor, when and how. What I'm saying is I've employed engineers, I've employed municipal managers, because I'm also responsible for urban planning. And now we have 4 municipalities in Kwale. So that's an achievement. Give me a clap. So leo, mbele yenu, nilikuwa nataka niwapatie opportunity nyingine ambayo ilijitokeza. Because I realized sitting there alone does not help. People don't know what I'm doing. How do I reach to more of you? How do I make you understand that whatever you're going through is not strange? You're not new to anything. Umesikia hapa watu wanaenda holiday. Tulikuwa twende holiday unaenda Ocha. Sisi watu wa miogo tunakausha miogo, watu wa mahindi wanakausha mahindi. That is the holiday that we go through, and most of the people in this room, you are very smart, but you have very humble backgrounds. Appreciate that background, because one day you'll be standing here telling a story like me, and somebody will be thinking, and you own all those titles. Titles don't matter. My rules are only 3. Humility, clarity, and courage. Be humble by remembering where you come from. Clarity is knowing exactly where you want to go, regardless of the circumstances you are in right now. And confidence is being able to own your passion and speak it to people to the way that you touch their hearts. Mimi nikisimama hapa, hata without telling you about kina Tezagi and their soil mechanics, you can understand that I have a passion for ensuring that communities are able to be resilient. Now I went into a platform called Miss President. And yesterday I think we had a debate, for those who are lucky to have watched ATN. And Miss President is a platform for women in leadership and governance. Having worked for the county, I understood one thing. Without being in the space of leadership, most of the challenges we are talking about here as engineering, science, and all those technocrats will not be solved, because we sit alone. These people who are making decisions are not with us. Like, what would be difficult in us having county level conversations of this nature, whereby governors, chief officers, and CECs would be sitting and understanding what they are losing by ensuring this amount of knowledge is not tapped into the decisions they are making in those administrations. So Miss President offered the platform that women leaders can compete in ensuring that all of them take a space into leadership. What are the challenges that women can be able to solve in this country so that they can have an opportunity for getting into the leadership space? And it's called Miss President because, one, we've never had a female president. Secondly, you are supposed to take in the roles of the president so that you solve issues understanding what the president is exposed to and what his capacity is. So you need to know the constitution, you need to know which other parastatals work for you, what are the chances that politics would actually hinder your growth, and whatever we are going through right now that we see in the news every single day. And I happened to have walked through that journey knowing that anything can happen. Unajua, unaweza kuwa hapo ukasema, okay, si ni wapale, we are not the majority, some of these things are scripted, I might not even make it to top 3, and I made it to top 6. So yesterday we did the live debate. I didn't even tell my governors because I was thinking, nikimwembarrass kwa TV. Nitarudi kama niko na job kweli, because it's like, no, me, I gave you a simple opportunity and you're busy going there, becoming overambitious, exposing your wazimu in front of national TV. But he's so proud, and right now he's asking people, please vote for her, because she thinks she's capable for much more than what we are able to offer in Kwale. So fellow engineering students and technocrats and experts, this world is a very big platform for all of us. Use it to your maximum best. What I can do, you can do, or you can do even better. You can do something different. Whatever it is, our efforts eventually will have to sum up to one thing: development and changing the life of humanity. An engineer is a creator. An engineer is an innovator. The solutions that we are providing are the solutions that are making women now run for leadership. We are talking about appliances here. Engineers are making lives very easy for us at home. In fact, I told people engineering was meant for women because without engineering, honestly, hakuna baba angeruhusu. Chakula inachelewa, watoto waendi shule, nyumba haina stima, sijui nini. Who would have allowed their wife to go to work? You understand? So this is a big solution and a big step for the women. I'm sorry for the men because I have to be biased. So as Miss President, my agenda is to ensure that we provide an economy that is allowing a creative economy. There's so much trade skill that is going around. We need to stop focusing on the formal ways of employment and start allowing people to diversify their ideas. We need to provide, venture capitalism. People can come up with it. We can crowdfund for you as long as we understand what you're creating. The only hitch is that engineers, we are so scientific, people cannot relate. So kuja marginalized huku tuambie Kwale mko na islands 5 zote hazina umeme. I'm telling you now, if you are looking for opportunities, there it is. Hazina. There is no way we can do a cable from Kwale to Wasini. It is just too deep. There's too many other challenges that are going through. Those people there, even their literacy levels is like at 25%. So niambie how you and your education can ensure that person understand what you're bringing to the table. That is the opportunity you should be looking for. Hiyo kwenda kijijini, understand your village, hata understand Nairobi. Understand your village and provide a solution to that village. That's how we become rich. Eventually, I need you to vote for me now that I'm the only engineer in the top 6. And it is so easy because the voting is free. On Airtel, Safaricom, and Telecom, it's all free. We've been having niches of the feedback text, but all the votes will go through. So if you can pick your phone now, I give you instructions from Aliza story. Tutakutana kwa ama hapo nje, tutakutana, we'll interact, and then we can talk more about the opportunities that lie there. Obviously, with my experience in government, usiogope kufanya kazi serikalini, even if you intern for, I've asked people to intern for like forever in my office, and they are amazing, amazing young people, and I'm so proud because now imagine I'm mentoring them when I'm also young. One day I'll sit here and my biggest wealth will be the human resource that I've been able to attach myself to. And I look at the country and I'm like, I just want you all to be happy and successful. You send the word Nuru, N-U-R-U, to 23960. 23960. So send Nuru to 23960. I really appreciate it. Will make such a difference. The voting is like every day till on 16th is when the voting lights close. But whatever you do to support the movement, I'm happy. Next time you see Miss President, don't think it's modeling. Apply, all of you. I want to see brilliant minds challenge the biggest people in our administration to ensure that they listen to our voices. Everyone is important. Our diversity is our strongest hue. My mom comes from Vihiga County. My dad comes from the coast. Maybe it's the reason why I'm very positive about life. But also I shouldn't discourage you if they all come from the same community, because that can also set you back in terms of tradition and culture. Come out of your shell. There is nothing that can go wrong, seriously. Hata unatukana, si watu wametukana kwa mitandao hapa siasa and they are still in big offices. So what's the worst that can happen to you if you're just like 20-something? Risk. Just risk. It will always pay. Thank you so much for the little time. I was told to take 3 minutes, but it was so juicy. And you guys are looking so lovely. Thank you.